Hi, good morning, and welcome back to the Kristin Omdahl Show. This is episode 957, and we're here live in Southwest Florida at the beach. This is the beautiful Gulf of Mexico behind me. Is this even? Can't tell. I think I went too much now. Anyway, it's close enough. If you're joining me live, please say hello. Let me know. If you're crafting this morning, let me know if you have questions for me. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. We'll wait for people to pop over from pre-chat and notifications. I'm still working on a scarf. Hi Joe and Grace, good morning. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day everybody. Hi Leona, good morning. Hi Eve. It's a beautiful sunny day here. Hi Carrie. The waves are beautiful. The wind's pretty mild. It's a little chilly this morning. It was in the 50s when I got up. I wasn't even sure. I felt like coming to the beach. You know when you wake up cold and you're like, oh, am I ever going to warm up? But I did warm up. Hi Thea and Rosemary, Valerie. Thank you, Valerie. I appreciate it. Yes, I did have a nice low drama day yesterday. I know I'm not the only person that has that as their biggest wish on their birthday. Some people just, I prefer as little drama as possible, which usually means spending time with minimal people, and it works. Hi, Geraldine and Colleen, good morning. Oh, I'm not used to leaving my hair down, and I've played with it too much now, and I just want a ponytail. Hi, Diane, good morning. I'll show you my scarf, and then I'll show you what I'm wearing. I've made a lot of progress on my scarf, so it starts there and it ends there so far, but I am trying to make it long enough to fold the ends up to have self pockets. There's so many different ways to make pockets, and we can talk about that a little more today, because it's an easy addition to make on any scarf pattern. You don't have to just use my pattern to do it. And there's several ways to make pockets on scarves, and we can talk about that this morning. But I will wait till people pop over from pre-chat and notifications. Hi, Proverbs. Thank you, Valerie. I'm wearing a shawl today. It's a half circle shawl, or not half circle, half hexagon shawl done in Be So Easy yarn. And the half hexagon shape is such an interesting shape for doing, for styling, number one, and also a pattern that's written for half hexagon, even a pattern that's written for a top-down instruction, even a pattern that's written for top-down instruction for a triangular top-down shawl or a half hexagon shawl. Ultimately, it can any one pattern that does one can do the other. So I'll give you an example. This is a knit pattern. Yes, it's called the Lagertha shawl. You can find it on my website, and it's made in Be So Easy yarn color bisque. So doesn't that look like a triangular top-down shawl? And then look, it's just a third repeat to make it the half hexagon shape. Now, because the pattern gives you the instructions for a wedge, you can use the instructions to make it a triangle shape, a half hexagon shape, and you could also do a half hexagon for one and then do a single repeat for a second one to create a poncho that corset ties here like the Jenna poncho. So if you look on my website on the Jenna poncho, which is another knit pattern on there, oh, my hair's driving me nuts. And this is a test for me. If I can put my hair in a bun without needing bobby pins or a scrunchie of any kind, it probably means my ends are straggly and I need a haircut. So let's see. Yep, it worked. I probably am due for a haircut. My hair gets really straggly at the ends right before a haircut. And I did promise you that I would do my next haircut live to show you how I cut my own hair now. I'm so excited about that. So I'll figure out what's a good day for me and we'll do it live. Okay, so this might have been helpful to use with the board, and we can always bring this back up with the board on another day as well. But anytime you have a top-down increasing pattern that tells you how to do one wedge, whether it tells you to do the wedge twice for a triangle top-down or 3 times for a half hexagon top down, you could do 4 repeats for a square cape that's open in the front. You could convert it to working in the round to make a square afghan that works out from the round. Or you could do a corset tied poncho where you do 3 repeats for the one side and then the 1 repeat on the other side. You could even do a full hexagon afghan if you wanted, which would be doubling this, right? So whether you did 1 repeat for the front of a corset tied poncho, 2 repeats for a top down triangular shawl, 3 repeats for a half hexagon shawl, 4 repeats for a fuller cape, and even this is fairly full as the 3 pieces. So we've got the 1 wedge in the back. So as you're looking at that 1 wedge in the back and the 2 wedges for my sleeves, can you picture if I did 1 standalone wedge in the front here and then corset tied it right here? That would be a really cool poncho then that would have these arm openings here because it would be just done at the shoulders. But with a clip, even a half hexagon, when it's this long, I made this a generous size. It's top down. If you don't want it this long, you could certainly end at the end of a different repeat instead of going as long as I did, or you could make it longer as well. But look at the half hexagon shape lends itself so beautifully to clipping in the front. And I have to give a quick shout out to the fact that Be So Easy yarn is number 5 bulky weight. But look at that drape still. It's not every day you see that kind of drape on a number 5 bulky weight yarn. It's just so cozy and amazing. And as I'm sitting here putting it on, wouldn't this make an amazing cardigan? Or I think that this weight yarn and that kind of lace would be so pretty as a cardigan or as a pullover. Is it heavy? Heavy compared to what? Like, it's not that heavy. I do not feel like it's heavy, and for the size that it is, I do not think it's heavy, but heavy's relative. I'm not, you know, depending on what someone thinks is heavy or not. I would not consider this heavy, but again, that's a very subjective question, and I guess it would depend on who you're asking and what they're comparing it to. But in my personal opinion, for the size of this, I would say that this is light. Lighter than heavy for sure. Great question. It's a tough question to answer, that's all. Hope you understand. But great question, and I always appreciate everybody's questions. So if you have them, ask if I can. Yes, some sweater, definitely. Some things that are bulky are heavy, and I do not think that this is on the heavy side for bulky weight. Correct. So on the scale of bulky weight yarn, I would not consider this heavy. Beth is in Sanibel Island. Wonderful. Hi. Sanibel Island's right over there. Let's point the camera. It's a clear day. You can probably see a tiny bit of the buildings from over there. Not sure if you can see that much though. Isn't this so pretty though? Especially with the dark underlayer. I am just loving this. Suitable for a newer knitter. Well, it does come with charts. It does come with written instructions. There's a stitch count at the end of each row. There are some increases and decreases in the pattern, but as long as you're capable of following those instructions, I do not think it's a difficult pattern. No, I do not. Anna's working on this one. Cool. Does anybody have any other questions about it? It feels so good. It's so cozy to wear. I don't know how it can be brighter out here than normal, but I feel like I'm squinting harder than normal today. It's always something. All right, I do want to wait and make sure there's no more questions about this piece, and then I will start talking about the pockets, because I think this is a really fun subject and also a very empowering subject. If I can give you some pointers on adding pockets. It is very cozy, Judy. I feel super cozy in it, and I just think it looks so pretty on. It's not every day you feel cozy, and it's flattering on too, so always a win-win in my opinion. Hi, Barbara. All right, I don't see any more questions about the Lagertha knit shawl, and Judy has posted a link in the live chat. And also there will be links for the Lagertha knit shawl along with everything else I talked about in the video description when the show's over. Yes, this is one of the butterfly clips that I sell. Yeah, I do too, Carrie. This is actually, you can find these shirts in my Amazon shop as well. They're just stretchy, they're stretchy long sleeve t-shirts. But what I like about them is how long they are. Can you see how long that sits on me? I like how long they are. This is the butterfly clip that I'm using. They come in lots of different sizes and different colors, and they're also in my Amazon shop. You can find all sorts of little gadgets and accessories that I use regularly in my Amazon shop. All right, any other questions? I may as well tell you about my pants too, because I put them on for the first time in a while today. These are the pants that look like leggings and dress pants at the same time. Remember me talking about them? I bought them to take to Ohio earlier this year for Knit and Crochet Now season 12. And so they look like leggings and feel like leggings, but they're that Ponte thick stretchy fabric, and they have pockets and an elastic waistband. So as long as you wear something loose or bloused over it, they totally look, oh, they have pockets in the back too, like at least like jeans, maybe not like dress pants, but definitely like a jean pocket in the back. So you could definitely pull off looking like you're wearing dress pants if you need to for work or whatever, but they're stretchy and comfortable like leggings, which is so cool. And I was quite a bit heavier than I am now when I left for the show, and it couldn't fit into my regular dress pants, so I bought these to take with me. And I'm surprised that they still fit as nicely as they do, but that speaks to how much stretch is in them. I'm still wearing the extra large today, and I'm surprised that they weren't more baggy on me than they are, which means that they're a great transition pair of pants because they can work for multiple sizes. So if you're somebody that yo-yos like me, or you're in the process of losing weight, or you found that you're gaining weight and you don't really want to commit to a wardrobe of new sizes, these I'm noticing now today more than ever, they're great transition pants. So great for something to keep around. They're not expensive either, and they definitely look a lot dressier than stretch pants. Like, they don't look like stretch pants at all. They just feel like it. Or stretch pants, leggings, whatever you want to call them. So I thought I'd mention that as well. All right, so now what I wanted to talk about today is some of the different ways that you can easily add pockets to any scarf pattern. Okay, I'm not sure why you're sorry, Tammy. If you have them, I hope you're enjoying them too, unless I'm just missing a side conversation, which happens. So for any scarf pattern, and it doesn't matter what scarf you're making, any stitch pattern, any type of scarf, doesn't matter, knit, crocheted, whatever, you could absolutely make pockets by just making the scarf a little longer than you wanted, folding up the ends, and sewing up these side seams. And that's what I'm going to do. Okay, thanks, Judy. And that's what I'm going to do for this particular pattern. And what I like about that is the fact that there'll be no seam on the bottom where you'll be putting your items or your weight if you're going to put anything in them. So I feel like that's a nice secure pocket, especially for anybody that is worried about their sewing skills or the strength and security of their sewing skills. This would be a nice pressure relieving type of a join for somebody in that situation. However, you could absolutely also do these pockets in a variety of other ways, including just making a separate swatch type square that is the size of the pocket you want, and then place it over the end of the scarf and then sew it on 3 sides. Yes, Tammy, these would be great. That's what I'm saying. These pants are great for work when you're Tammy has trouble with arthritis and has trouble buttoning pants. These would be great because they absolutely look like work pants, even though they're stretchy, easy to put on, and easy for someone with something like arthritis. So yeah, that's a great tip and a great reason to use a pair of pants like this for sure. Okay, then there is a third way to add pockets to something. So you could either fold it down and sew on 2 sides, or make a separate piece and sew it on 3 sides, or if you had a chance to watch any of the episodes from season 12 so far on Knit and Crochet Now, I taught a really cool technique on there for making a pocket shawl or a pocket scarf. I can't remember which one I was doing on the show, where you add a pocket, you add the pocket lining, to the back side of your work. Let's see if I can replicate this at all while I'm crocheting here. So let's say, I'm going to do a partial of my row here to give you an idea of what I did on the show. Okay. So let's pretend, and I'm just going to pick up the other side of the scarf. Just pretend that I made a separate square, you know, whatever, for my pocket. What we did on the show was crochet across the scarf for the side, then holding the pocket behind, crocheting into the scarf in the middle, and then crocheting them both together on the side again. So crocheting the sides together for the first couple of stitches, skipping the front scarf and crocheting into the back here instead, which was the square or the pocket liner, and then crocheting them together on the end here, then continuing on in the pattern. So you'll end up having perfectly in pattern a front and a back. And then when you would be done with the scarf, you'd still have to go back and sew the sides and the bottom. But that transition in the front is totally different than a pocket. It's not a pocket that's just sewn to the front surface of the scarf. It's a pocket that's lined from the back. So it's not a difficult thing to do. It's just coming at it from a different direction and giving you a completely different look. What do you think about those 3 versions? Which one do you like better? They all have their pluses and minuses, and there's probably a time and a place when each one is easier than the other. For example, like on the poppy hooded scarf, the poppy hooded scarf with pockets. The poppy hooded scarf with pockets crochet pattern that I did for Crochet Along last year or the year before perhaps, I did it all in motifs. And I did it in a motif that was wide enough to be the width of the scarf. So it was a 1 motif wide by, I want to say, maybe 6 motifs long. And so the easiest way to add pockets in a motif project would be to join them together along 3 sides. So you know how to join. A lot of you know how to join motifs together for surface joining. Here's 1 motif and we join it together along one side to join the second one. But what if we sandwiched the 2 motifs together and then joined along 3 sides? Well, guess what? Let's do it along these 3 sides. It'd be open at the top for a pocket. So there's a 4th way. There's lots of ways to create pockets, and that would apply not only to a motif that is wide enough to be the width of the scarf, but if you're doing a motif fabric, let's say the fabric of your scarf or your shawl or whatever, let's say the size you would need for your pocket is 3 motifs wide by 3 motifs long. You'd still make the pocket you need to make it, and to attach it to the surface of the scarf or the shawl or whatever fabric. And this would apply to putting pockets on a cardigan or on a pullover too. You would still sandwich that motif to the fabric and join as you go along the sides. Does that make sense? So you can join motifs as you go to each other sandwiched instead of flat like you do when you're making a fabric. To make the motifs joined as a pocket, you would sandwich them instead of flat. Or you could take a fabric, fold it on itself to create a pocket, or just do a standalone pocket shape and sew it along 3 sides. Or you could do like I demoed with the scarf, where you made that square, instead of sewing it to the front, placed it behind your work and worked into it from the scarf so that you create a scarf lining on the back. So many ways to do it. They're so cute, they're so functional, and I like pockets on scarves and shawls, not so much for putting things in it, but more so for keeping your hands warm. I think it's a great place to put your hands too. And for those of us that are always fidgety and like to put our hands in pockets, even better to have those pockets to put your hands. A good example of a motif fabric that I used to make a pocket was the Perry pocket shawl in Be So Vivid yarn. That's a pattern that I released earlier this year. And the pockets on that one are a mini motif that's only about this big, so it's 3 motifs wide by 3 motifs tall for the pocket, and then it's joined to the scarf. Now with that one, I ended up sewing it on the 3 sides and not doing join as you go, but it was because of the nature of that specific fabric and that specific motif, because it was actually a modular join motif that wasn't rounds, it was rows going back and forth. So it did make more sense to sew it like you would a regular fabric, like something worked in rows. Does that make sense? I suppose having samples would help. I could probably make a blog post or video about all of this. Does anybody have any questions though? All right, I don't see any questions. Well, that's good, because this was a big chunk of information, so hopefully it was helpful and useful, and maybe even gave you some ideas or gave you a relief of pressure knowing that there's more ways to do it than one. So let's say the pattern that you have that you wanted to do a pocket scarf, put pockets on, let's say you don't like the style. Let's say you don't like the style of the pocket that they used or the technique that they used in the pattern. You could pick and choose any one of these, and that goes for me too. If you don't like one of these styles that I used on a particular pattern, you can use any one of these others. There's no reason why you couldn't apply any of this to it. Someone just asked if you could put a cuff on this shawl. Absolutely. This shawl happens to have a scallop edging on it, so this shawl happens to have a scalloped edging on it, so you might want to choose a different edging if you were going to put a cuff on it, or you could simply just sew it together here so that you would just have a sleeve opening. So there are you could still put a sleeve cuff like that, or you could do a different edging so that it was smooth and then pick up stitches and actually knit an edging here. Or because we're working across perpendicularly to do this edging, you could work the scalloped edging up until here, then go back and just do a plain garter stitch edge just like we did on the selvaged edge here, which would match this edge then, and you could do that across the placement of where you would want to put your sleeves, and then go back to the scalloped edging as well. So lots of options there. Does anybody have any questions about that? It was a great question that was asked. I do not remember by whom, but a great opportunity to show you on the actual sample. And that was like several different options. So whether you just sewed it as is, changed the edging altogether, or modified the edging just for that sleeve placement. That's 3 options off the top of my head for how you could add a cuff to this. So hopefully that's helpful. But if there's more questions, or if I didn't answer it thoroughly enough, please let me know. And I'll wait a second to see. Yes, I agree. I love cuffs on a shawl and poncho, Rosemary. They really help for things to stay in place. Now I have to say a half hexagon stays in place very well on its own. However, cuffs are very helpful for keeping a draped piece in place on your shoulders, keeping it centered across your shoulders, and giving you more more confidence in your ability to move around. Sometimes I feel like we want to be more gentle with our arm movements when we have a draped piece, not a fitted piece on, and cuffs give you a little more confidence. So yes, I agree they're a game changer as well. And it's something you can add to anything in a variety of ways, whichever way works for you or works for the construction of the pattern that you're wanting to modify to. Any more questions about that? I mean, we've talked about some pretty in-depth techniques today, so if you decide you have questions later today, always feel welcome to come back and leave them in the comments. Kira and Jeet, all of the information on what you need to make this is on the pattern page, and you can follow the link provided to find out how many balls of Be So Easy I used to make this. All right, here's the beach to the north of us. And the west, the cloud cover is so pretty today. I love all of the different highlights. Highlights and lowlights. Like now that I've been drawing nature scenes, I'm paying so much more attention to the textures in nature, like I wasn't paying attention to textures in nature before. But now that I've been drawing nature scenes, I'm paying attention even more, and it's just great. Okay, so here's the beach to the south of us. And this has been my view this morning, which is not too shabby, I might add. I do love the nature on the opposite side of the water too. Yep, it's all there, Kira and Jeet. Everything you could possibly need to know is there. And I walked through a strange little walkway this morning. It's a little tight. All right, there's the link again. Thank you so much for posting it a few times, Judy. Here's the walkway. It's a little narrow, huh? This is not even 3 feet wide in some spots, which means there could be any creepy crawlies in there. A little sign, stay off the dunes. Yeah, no problem, guys. I have no intention of standing in the dunes. Oh, we lost video? Okay, maybe we lost coverage. Come back out here. All right, we lost connection going in there. Am I back? Or am I back for you? It looks fine for me now. Yes, I'm back, thank you. Yeah, so I was gonna show you how tight it was back there. And it was kind of creepy and cool, but if we're gonna lose connection, then I guess I don't need to show you. But there's a bench back there, like in the brush, and I looked at it on my way in this morning. I'm like, yeah, I think I'd have nightmares if I sat here too long. Like, it's really pretty because it's overgrown. I'll tell you what, when the show's over, on my way back to the car, I will take a photo of the bench and the scenery in front of the bench so you can see what I'm talking about, and I'll share it in the community posts. Do you guys see those? If I can post a photo on YouTube, not just videos, but I can post community posts. Do you know what I'm talking about? Some of you see them because I do get a couple of comments, not a ton, but I do get a couple of comments. So I know somebody has the ability to see them. It might be through notifications, I don't know. But I will post the photo there so you can see what I'm talking about. It's not exactly inviting, but yet it's oddly beautiful at the same time. It's beautiful, but it looks like it's crawling with creepy crawlies. Does that make sense? Anyway, I'll take a photo of it when I'm headed back to the car, and you'll see what I mean. It's beautiful, but different. Anyway, thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes here with me. I hope you enjoyed the beach, the sunrise, the scenery, my show and tell and demonstrations and chatting with me and everyone else. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next episode of the Kristin Omdahl Show. Thank you. Bye-bye.